love to talk. I love to talk with you, stream, with a 2 minute delay,
Yeah,
which is very
yeah.
difficult.
We'll just wait until it catches up, and then we'll hold that conversation. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say a word, and then like a minute later, 2 minutes later to be precise. This draft that they have going on, the fake draft, is pretty great. We have Rhaegar, Lost Vikings, and Right Wing picked. If they
Ah,
actually make these their real picks,
God,
I
I
will be
wish. I
right.
wish. It looks like we do have the real draft going again. Li Ming with the first ban. What is this? We had a deal. We had a deal, Blizzpro. Misama eSports quickly banning out Kael'thas again. Rhaegar picked up super fast for Blizzpro, and that is going to lead into Miasma's response. I'd imagine we're probably going to see, if I had to guess, I'm going to look at Jaina. Since Kael'thas has been banned out and she's still an excellent assassin, we have seen her used to great effect today with some spot-on rings. But no, it looks like Raynor is going to be the first pickup for Miasma.
Indeed, he is. It is going to be quite curious to see what is going to come out. Is Miasma going to pick a Tyrande? They certainly have some time to wait to make that pick if that is their choice here. She is still strong. I would say personally that I think Morales is a stronger support in the current meta. Don't think Tyrande is bad by any means. I think she certainly has her place. But you know what? I do have to say that I do think Morales is super strong right now.
She is indeed. I would say that outside of Rhaegar, she is probably my favorite healer. If you know how to position with her, you can be a god. You can hang in the back. You can throw out the fastest heals per second in this game. And it just feels so good to just throw on some relaxing music and just heal people to full. Preferably something with whistling. Speaking of which, Jaina with the Howling Winds coming in along with Sylvanas here. We're going to have back-to-back old embraced ladies.
I'm not muted or anything. I'm just staying silent.
Why? Miasma eSports is going to come in with the next ban here. I feel like they probably should go ahead and ban out a tank with both tanks still available. No, actually, for some reason, I thought Zagara had already been picked. I do think that she is probably the most important pick on this map. But instead, Miasma is going to ban her out. That is going to prevent her from being picked up. What a great ban for Miasma. Noticing that she has not been picked up yet. Somehow she made it this far into the draft, and she does indeed get banned out.
Mm. Makes a lot of sense to me. Zagara is fantastic once again. Almost we've seen honestly the last two games we've seen Zagara win games for teams. And so, if you were watching those games, and I'm 99% sure some of these players were, that's a good choice. And that's also a good ban with the Morales now, kind of sticking Miasma Esports. I really feel like their choice now is they almost have to go with that Tirana. Could go with Uther, could go with Malfurion, both also good choices. But I think that Morales was just really strong, and with that Raynor first pick, I think that's probably what they were going for. So, good heads up ban at a Blizzpro.
I agree with you. I think that Raynor may have telegraphed their idea to have that stem, which is oh so strong on Raynor. I'm trying to think. I think their support should probably be their next pickup, and it looks like it is. Tassadar is going to come in. Trying to think. I don't think that you can go solo support Tassadar on this map with as many team engagements as you get. We're going to have a second support here, my gut is telling me. I think that you might be right. We might see a Tyrande combo here.
Tyrande Tassadar was popular, still is possible. What's something else though I wouldn't be surprised to see?
What's that?
Right wing.
No,
We're gonna
both
see
of us are
Uther.
wrong. We're going to see Uther. Uther has made a strong comeback tonight. We have seen him probably the most chosen support outside of Rhaegar, mostly utilized in combination with a ETC so that they can get those divine shielded dances. But Blizzpro saying we're going to go ahead and pick up Joanna here as our tank. Jaina Sylvanas, I think they probably need another frontliner. Maybe they'll pick a bruiser or a secondary tank. And indeed, we do have the bruiser, Arthas, coming in. First time this evening. We have seen him multiple weeks in a row in Chair League, though this is the first time we've seen him tonight in what is the final game for us for the evening.
Indeed, I think Arthas is just a popular character here. We're a lot of situations where I would almost expect to see the Leoric pick. You see Arthas, and I understand that, especially with the Jaina, if you can get that slow, that root on someone, then Jaina is going to be able to clean up quite a bit. So that is a good combo. Absolutely agree with that. Though once again, I do have to say that Arthas, you don't see him in competitive play that often, but you see him all the time in cheer league, especially in combo with Diablo. Obviously, not an option here, but still nonetheless worth pointing out.
Now, Miasma needs to pick up something that puts out a crap ton of damage. They have tons of sustain, they have tons of support, and they are going to pick the Butcher. Butcher does have an incredible amount of damage that he can put out when unanswered. He also has the ability for that self-sustain with his W, and that's going to be our last pick. I think this is the first Butcher we've seen in any of the games we've casted for Cheer League. Is that right?
I feel like that is the case. I don't remember seeing Butcher, and honestly, I think that's a pretty interesting pick. Butcher can do a lot of damage by himself, and having Uther and Tassadar back him up is a smart play. It's going to be interesting because I see three prime targets for him on Blizzpro. If he gets on Rhaegar, Jaina, or Sylvanas, he will be able to do a lot of damage, at least until they get a little bit more of their hard escapes later on. But you know, come to think of it, the combo with Tassadar's
I was
walls.
just gonna say,
Yeah.
like with that wall, he can provide the necessary stopping power for the Butcher to get damage out. I do think that Arthas and Joanna are among the best Peely tanks, though, with Arthas being able to throw out that root, and Joanna with that very strong pullback and stun herself. This is going to be difficult for Miasma. I'm going to have to give the draft superiority to Blizzpro. It's going to be on Miasma rather, to make up the ground here. They're gonna be fighting from the back foot, is my opinion on this draft.
Yeah, I honestly think on some other maps that might be the other way around, but I think Blizzpro, I think they have a decent advantage here as far as the amount of damage they're going to be able to do and the amount of sustain that they're going to be able to do. One thing about the Butcher is he is very strong, but he's also has the potential to get blown up. And once again, that Arthas Jaina combo certainly it's going to be a lot of damage, especially later on when Sylvanas can get Embrace on people
Yeah.
and add that vulnerability onto things. And I could keep forgetting to mention too, Rhaegar's damage is pretty big. And honestly, the Lightning Shield on Arthas, that's actually potentially really brutal since they're going to take all the hits from that since they're not going to be able to get away because they're going to be slowed and rooted.
You're right. I think that having Arthas on the front line is going to be probably their strategy there. Although now that I think about it, Joanna, if you put the lightning shield on Joanna, she will be able to stick to a target even better because she'll be able to pull them back into her, multiple people at a time, mind you. And if she pops her unstoppable to avoid any stuns or roots, she's going to be able to continue to chase people regardless of their attempts to stun or root her. Even the Butcher is not going to be able to slow her with that consistent hamstring because of that trait. Really interested to see who gets the lightning shield here, but I have a feeling it's going to be Joanna more often than not. And as we head into the game, I am going to immediately switch into it, and over on the left side, we have Blizzpro. We're going to have Flame on Jaina. We have Zex on our... actually, who is that? That's Joanna. We have Balrog on Rhaegar, Digitally on Arthas, and Aya on Sylvanas.
On the other side with me, Asma, we are going to see Unaleska on Uther, Pang on Raynor, Reno on the Butcher, Assmasta on Tassadar, and Swanky on Diablo.
Yes, of course, the famous Assmaster, known and regaled throughout the Nexus as being one of the stronger Tassadar players. Down bottom, you can see they are doing the 4-1 split here. They're sending Sylvanas to the bottom. Since they have not been spotted yet, playing the very smart play here from the Sylvanas Blizzpro, staying back until she knows exactly where they are. She is peeking a little bit, maybe going to try and get a dagger out. Quickly charged by that Diablo and thrown away. She is followed up stunned, and they annihilate her. There is no question that, at least in the early levels, they do have the damage necessary to get quick kills.
Yeah, in the top lane, while that was going on, Blizzpro was trying to get some pushing action, managed to drop a tower to half, though worth mentioning, those towers do a lot of damage now. As you could see, Miasma was doing the same thing on bottom, but that Butcher taking a lot of damage from that tower. They actually are not to be feared anymore. You can't just bully them the way you used to. You have to have a minion wave there, giving them something to shoot.
Although you can actually push through it if your team has the fortitude. They do go ahead and take out both towers. What a way to start. Very impressed with Miasma. They're the first team to take advantage of a 4-man push on this map tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's actually going to be it's interesting now. We actually might see a gank here and at least attempt for one. As Diablo is going to swing up, prepare for the Butcher charge coming out. Looks like on this Arthas is the actual target, though the Jaina is going to be able to get a nice blizzard on 3 members of Miasma, though it's not going to be enough to get anything in trade for that Arthas.
Miasma playing very strong here, running the 1-4, having the 4-man gank squad continually rotating around, picking off those kills. So far, they have a 2-0 advantage, and the front fort is down. That is going to get them to 4 much quicker and give them advantage going into this Immortal phase.
Yes, it is. Does look like Blizzpro is going to play a little defensive here, trying to get some damage. Jaina coming up from the top, just clearing that lane, going to be joining the fray in a hot second. Joanna here getting body blocked is actually going to go down. Good job by Diablo and Butcher. Here comes the Butcher onto Arthas, though. The Immortal is going to swing him right away, though it does look like Arthas anyway is actually going to drop there. Which is going to allow Miasma to get some serious damage on this Immortal. Blizzpro going to have to sit back. You know, they have Rhaegar, but not really taking advantage of his ability to be a little bit aggressive there.
I'm seeing a pattern here with Miasma doing very well with the team fighting aspect. Not only is Diablo getting all of the Shadow Charge suplexes in, he is doing a great job of making sure that it is into the waiting arms of his 4 teammates. Every time Diablo has gotten a Shadow Charge suplex, it's been into a full 4-man body block. They may not have the traditional follow-up of a Tyrande arrow or, you know, even a Jaina Blizzard or the Lawn of Malfurion, but that does not mean they have not been able to stop people from getting away after the hard engage of Diablo.
Joanna is actually trying to just clear a wave and take that tower down up top, doing everything she can to get them back in this game as far as experience goes. Does look like Miasma is going to pick up their Shaman camp here, which is going to be pushing a little bit, which might help repel and also push with this Immortal, which is going to be good for them. Though it does look like they're using it as a pure distraction as they go south here into the bottom lane. Looks like they're going to try and push on this fort and looks like they might actually be able to get some damage done on it as only Sylvanas and Rhaegar are going to defend it.
As you mentioned, they are doing a full 5-man push here down at the bottom, which means they are missing out on all this delicious XP up here at the top. I really want to see them get a grab a kill here in addition, because it looks like with that first Punisher, they're not going to be able to get a fort at all. And in fact, up here at the top, Joanna has been getting all this XP for herself, cutting the lead just significantly. Like, they're almost fully caught up in XP here thanks to the quick on the feet thinking of Joanna, seeing that 5 people were missing and taking that as a sign that she could safely take that top.
Yeah, and down at the bottom, you can see that it looks like Miasma is going to take this camp right from kind of under the noses. Tacitur's in lane acting as a distraction. At top, Raynor is just kind of, once again, finally soaking that top lane, picking up that experience that they need. But, you know, even game so far, Josheb, though it does look like we're going to see a bit of a gank, or at least an attempt on gank on this Jaina, who is going to fall before she can get that blizzard down.
Every time Swanky gets that suplex, she is completely Night at the Roxbury's, then encapsulated by 4 dudes who want nothing more than to do a deadly dance with her. Reno taking out this again. Swanky with the excellent suplex. Balrog can run away, but not as fast as he'd like, and he's going to go down again. The combo there of the unstoppable assault of Renal on the Butcher, so powerful when combined with the suplex of Diablo. It looks like we're going to have something of an engage here as they fight underneath that fort, but they're going to be able to make it away here, I think, and that's going to be another takedown. That's 6 takedowns to 0 in the way of Miasma.
And it is 100% on the play of that Diablo and Butcher. As soon as the suplex goes down, tossed over the shoulder. Butcher comes rushing in, gets the stun off, and just pours damage in along with the rest of his team. It's a fantastic combo that they've worked to some extreme success so far here.
They have been very successful with it, and I think that's going to be the game plan going forward here tonight. It does look like Raynor is able to stem the tide here as they are hard engaging. Oh, fantastic route from Digitally as he saves Sylvanas, but will it be the cost of his own life? No, he does make it away. The Butcher here does have his W out. He may get stunned, but no, he just manages to avoid it. He is going to be the front line for them. Diablo hanging back as Renal takes the lion's share of the damage here. Meanwhile, the suplex comes out. Digitally is going to go down to Ping's focused attacks there, and it looks like Zexrus trying to get in there and do some damage, but she is way out of position and has to pop Unstoppable just to survive.
You know, we have another team fight on our hands where it looks like it's going in the favor of Miasma. On the one hand, though, you know, you can see that mana is quite low for a lot of the members of them, or for Miasma, and that might allow Blizzpro to try and get a pick-off here, which is exactly what they're going to do, trying to find this Diablo, or Raynor rather, but here does come Diablo and Uther, who are going to deny that, prevent them from getting any momentum, but Sylvanas actually...
With her dying breath, throwing out one last haunting wave. However, it is going to be unfinished as she is stun locked into the ground. It would not surprise me to see our good friend Raynor picking up the stun build here to go along with the other stun locks. Until there are diminishing returns in this game, people are going to find ways to get stun after stun after stun. And it looks like right now that is the build Miasma is going for.
It does look like that is the case. Blizzpro, it does look like they're playing a little far back. Are they going to try and race this? It looks like that's what they're going to do. Well, almost certainly. Actually, Rhaegar is getting caught down here, just getting blown up in the meantime. Playing a little bit aggressive there. I think he was trying to get a little bit more experience. Unfortunately, that was not the case.
No.
He was not able to get that.
Miasma finds a stray dog and chooses to put it down. Poor Doji. Up top, you can see that they were trying to get as much damage onto their Immortal as they could before Miasma grabbed it, but Miasma does hit 10 first and is able to grab their Immortal. They do have 10 before their opponents, but it looks like a major engagement is going to be avoided. Watch out for the Hyperion here to make sure that this fort comes out, but no, it looks like they don't even need it. He's going to hang on to it and wait for a team engagement.
Once again, it looks like they're doing the 5. No, here they come. They are going to push with this Immortal. They're just going to be a little bit late. That might be bad news for Joanna, though, as here she comes. But no, Rhaegar is the target. He's going to get picked up. Here's the charge, and bam, just gone, erased once again. And, you know, Joanna isn't going to be able to do a whole lot to peel. I mean, what can you really do? They completely surround them. That has got to be something that Miasma has practiced. It's not just the Butcher, not just the Diablo. Tassadar just squeezes in on the bottom and prevents anyone from escaping that little death chamber that they set down.
Note to any team that plays Miasma next week, don't be like that Arthas. Make sure that you ban either Diablo or the Butcher or both to make sure your team is not on the other end of that. Here comes Lamb to the slaughter to make sure they can't get away. Unstoppable is popped. Oh, here comes a great silencing arrow followed up by that ring, and that is going to be the death of Tassadar. Our good friends Blizzpro are going to get their first kill of the evening, and they may be able to follow up with more. The Butcher goes back in to try and buy his team time. That does actually allow Uther to mount up, and he is going to be able to get away. Raynor doing everything that he can to make sure that his team can escape, and it looks like they are actually going to be able to go. However, Blessed Shield comes off cooldown. Swanky taking a ton of damage, and the Ancestral Healing coming out to make sure that Zexrus can stay in this engage. They can see them being out right now, and with only Raynor remaining to defend it, are they going to choose to go for that fort? No, it looks like they're going to try and grab the Mercs for soak first.
You know, I do think that's a smart move, as I think they're going to actually have time to do both here, as while Diablo is coming back, he's not going to have a whole lot of help, and they might be able to pick him off because of his aggression. It is currently a 5v5. Syndragosa is popped, they're going to use it as a disengage. I guess, you know, Miasma does have 13 there. Jesus.
Oh, man.
Jaina.
The hair on the back of Jaina's neck standing up as she struggles to be out. Swanky arriving to find a Jaina-sized smokestack standing where she once was as her B goes off just in time. Meanwhile, Blizzpro grabbing their own shaman camp with perfect timing there as the Immortals are about to spawn. They're going to head up and clear this top lane.
It is, they're going to have, Jaina is going to be able to get this lane. It does look like the rest of her teammates are going to be sitting in the middle, and maybe trying to set themselves up, maybe try and scout out Miasma. They have spotted at least Uther and Diablo in that bottom lane. They should figure out where everyone else is now that that camp has been taken. But they are going to make a push on the fort. I do like this call. This might be able to get them 13 here, maybe once they clear this wave.
Yep. In fact, I'd like to point out, oh, but you know who's coming to collect is Miasma, who says, oh, is that how we're going to play this? However, the root comes out, hits two people, and vulnerability coming out, but oh my goodness, what a quick turnaround. Rhaegar is chained. The doggy is chained out back and is quickly dispatched. However, this fight is far from over. Swanky goes down. So does the Butcher. That is going to be a 3-for-1 trade, and it is not over yet. Yun trying desperately to get away. However, he chose to take Divine Storm in place of Rainer's stun as he picks up Giant Killer, and that is going to be the first clear for Blizzpro. They are going to have their first advantage of the game, Strat.
I think the strategy behind taking Divine Storm over Shield was simply that Tassadar is here for the extra healing. But, I see Divine Storm as not a terrible talent, but against this team versus Jaina, the burst just out of Jaina alone is so strong that I really think that the Storm was the better option there. Or, I'm sorry, the Shield was.
Speaking of Jaina, she did have to go back for some mana here. Everyone who survived on Blizzpro running pretty low on mana right now. It does look like Miasma is back, and they're looking to defend. Here comes Diablo. However, a quick blind caused them to disengage.
Both teams are fairly even right now. A slight mana advantage goes to Miasma, though they are having to play defense right now, which is allowing Rhaegar to clear this bottom lane, which is actually good for them. They're still in it. They've actually managed to claw their way back from an experience disadvantage, but they are in this game, and Arthas looks like he's playing a little aggressive. He wants this Immortal. He wants blood. He's going to get Shrink Ray,
but the Shrink Ray comes out unstoppable as well. Here comes the heal. The Blessed Shield misses. The invulnerability comes out for him, but oh my goodness, so many people getting so low from that Wailing Arrow. Flame G taking a ton of damage. She does not have Ice Block yet. Joanna and Jaina go down as well as Arthas, and there's a turnaround from Miasma. Balrog still trying to get away. The quick penetrating round doing so much damage to him. They are on the run hard here. A great preemptive wave there from Sylvanas allows her to escape, and now it's Miasma on the front foot again.
I am just baffled. Honestly, that was one of those team fights that I wish we could go just back and play it again in slow motion live, because just so many ults went off at once in every direction, and both teams dropped so low there. I have to give it to Miasma for choosing the targets a little bit better than Blizzpro did. I think that Diablo is essentially the one that has that privilege on Miasma. It seems that whatever target he charges, that's the target that Miasma goes after, and that's honestly the best way to play Diablo. Certainly the best way to play an aggressive Diablo when you're playing with a Butcher.
And the Butcher has proved invaluable this game. You don't see him so much in competitive environments right now, but Renel showing that he certainly does belong on that Butcher. I'm really impressed with the play of both teams here. Blizzpro was coming from behind, and they actually have annihilated this lead. It's 16-16 right now, and this is still anybody's game, though Miasma's Punisher is pushing bottom. Wailing Arrow comes out. Here comes the big engagement at the feet of the Immortal, as does the huge, oh my goodness, the ring comes out. More damage being poured into the red team. However, oh my goodness, Jaina with the clutch ice block that allows her to survive. That is going to be a 1 for nothing, or excuse me, a 4 for nothing. I'm sorry. There was one person that went down, and it was Sylvanas. Tassadar, the lone survivor of Miasma. However, they do win that engagement at the cost of a keep.
I think that Blizzpro needs to play aggressively here. They have an advantage for about 15 seconds. What are they going to do with it? Are they going to make a play for anything here? It does look like Rhaegar and Jaina are going to take this bottom camp. I would like them to see them do a little bit more than that. I think it's a mistake not to play a little bit aggressive here. They have the advantage. This is a close game. we've seen it swing back and forth. They need to swing it hard enough in their direction so they can take a decisive lead. But that doesn't look like it's going to happen. So they're just going to take these two camps. But, despite losing that engagement, Miasma is going to be able to take their own camps and clear this experience, which really, they're not going to be behind. In fact, they're almost a little bit ahead. They are a little bit ahead on experience.
I want to point out that every engagement that Blizzpro has won has been in the hands of Aya with that wailing arrow. She has done so good at catching 2, 3, 4 people inside of it and preventing any kind of counters. In addition, Flame has done so well with that ring, catching 2 and 3 opponents multiple times, really giving no kind of answer to Miasma there by comboing those two abilities. Really heads up play from Blizzpro to make sure that they stay in this game.
Absolutely. I do see it looks like Miasma is going to be setting up a bit of a gang here, waiting for Blizzpro to come flying by. And then they're going to try and jump on them as soon as this Immortal spawns. It looks like Blizzpro is playing a little conservative. They see that Tassadar. He's going to use his vision there. It's going to spot all the members of Blizzpro. They see where they are. Diablo is going to want to do what he's been doing this whole game, which is grab anyone he can that's squishy and slam them into the waiting arms of Butcher. But it does look like here comes Blizzpro, is going to try and route them out here. Diablo is going to get hit a little bit by that death coil. Tassadar's wall is going to prevent them from doing that much, or doing much with that. They're going to clean up that experience wave up top and maybe choose a better time to engage.
Now, both of these teams are on even footing. They all have every ultimate up. This is going to be a huge engagement as soon as it goes up. Speaking of which, here's the Lamb to the Slaughter, not even needed as Apocalypse finishes him off. Jaina goes down super quickly as well. The Wailing Arrow coming out a little bit late, does hit 5 members, is probably going to allow the rest of her team to get away, but now it's going to be a 5v3, and it does look like down at the bottom, there's some problems as well, but Sylvanas is actually the next one to go down. Joanna soon follows, and that is a 4-man wipe. Miasma with a huge advantage here, not even going for the Immortal. They're heading straight to the core, knowing they have 30 seconds left to go. Digitally, last one left, doing everything he can to make sure that he can assuage this, sending out the root, but I tell you, I don't think he's going to be able to hold them off, and in fact, he might die for his trouble here. Good game, well played coming out from Diablo. I think that's going to cinch it, and Miasma winning the seesaw battle is going to be able to take this victory. That is going to be one more win on the tick mark board of Miasma.
Stay tight coming out of Jaina there. I like it.
Hashtag stay tight. J-How is in the building, I think, and I hope he gets to see Stay tight was used.
That does make me all kind of warm and fuzzy inside. What a good game, Josheb. We've had 3 fantastic games in a row. Once again, I'll say it again. This is the 5th week of Cheer League. Every single week, MMR will sort the players into their own tiers of who should be playing where and who should be playing, at maybe a lower bracket, a higher bracket. That's what we're starting to see. So we're seeing these closer back and forth games. This game was a seesaw back and forth the whole time. It looked like Blizzpro could have won, looked like Miasma could have won. I will point out, though, despite what chat said, once again, the team that picked Rhaegar.
Look at this. Go ahead. Finish your sentence.
The team that picked Rhaegar was not the team that won. And that surprises me personally, as I think he's incredibly strong. But I do have to wonder if maybe people are overvaluing that Rhaegar pick a little bit and expecting him to do more than is possible in a competitive setting.
I'm really impressed, again, with the play of both teams. You have to hand it to Blizzpro. They were fighting on the back foot for much of that game, taking that engagement at the top, really intelligent playmaking to say, you know what, we're not going to go contest our Immortal right now. We can't. We're not on an even footing. It would be suicide to run in there, a lesson that a lot of teams have yet to learn, but Blizzpro knew. They saw that fort was unguarded. They knew where the enemy team was, and they chose to take it down.